If you really know why you want to be an entrepreneur, why you want to be successful, why you want to make millions of dollars, the how will not matter. At the end of the day, if I make the wrong decision, that's okay. I'm going to trust in myself and my ability to be able to recover and pivot. So you have to decide first, and then the answers come. Identity is the thing that drives all of your success and your results in life. If you give up, you're being selfish. Think of all the people that you can impact and that are counting on you. All right, so welcome to the first solo episode for the Franchise Empire Show. I'm excited to dive into this one. We got a really special one, so we're just going to dive right in. If you're ready to rock and roll, if you're listening in your car or while you're moving, just definitely take some mental notes. If you're in a place where you're stationary, pull out your phone, pull out your iCloud notes. That's what I do. I take notes in my iCloud notes, but we're going to get ready to rock and roll, and we're going to go deep today. We're really going to go deep today. We're talking about how to be happy and profitable and to build a thriving multi-million-dollar business that makes you a lot of money, and then you get to actually be happy and excited and fulfilled the entire time. Because here's the problem, right? Most people get into business to have more control, to feel happier, to make more money. They think that the idea of being this entrepreneur is so glamorous, but unfortunately, most people find themselves missing either one or the other, sometimes both. Either they're missing the happiness and they're running their business and they're miserable and they're stressed out and tired and frustrated and just scraping to get by or feeling overwhelmed all the time, or sound familiar? Or they're not profitable, right? Where their business is not creating the cash flow that they wanted or that they intended, and they're just not really making the money, and they feel like they bought themselves a job, or they're just actually losing money in their business. Maybe even both, right? Because it's hard to be happy if you're not profitable. It really makes it tough. So whether you are a franchise buyer and you don't own a franchise yet and you're thinking about it, then this episode's for you. If you're a franchisee and a franchise owner, right, this episode is definitely for you. If you're just an entrepreneur, this is for you. And if you're a franchisor, this episode is for you. So I wanted to come on and share some things that I've learned over my last 15 years of entrepreneurship. And look, the intention here is not this, hey, I'm sitting on the Holy Grail and speaking down like, hey, these are the things you need to know. This is more so, I'm sharing things that I've struggled with, that I've learned over the years, and that, you know, I'm still learning as we go along. And these are things that I'm constantly reminding myself of. And there are also things that have helped me generate millions of dollars over the last 7 or 8 years as an entrepreneur. And so some of the things I learned the hard way personally through failure after failure after failure and going through a bunch of depression. Some of the things I've learned from over the $80,000 that I've invested in coaches and programs and seminars, right? So I'm gonna share some of that stuff with you. You don't even have to make the investment. You're gonna get it all for free. The only thing that I ask is that you just share this episode. The Franchise Empire Show is brand new. We're just getting started on the new YouTube channel and a brand new podcast channel. So there's no charge to you for this information. Not going to send you a bill. Not going to ask for your credit card. The only thing I do is ask that you share it with a friend, a business partner, someone you work with, someone that you think might get value out of the episode. So that's the only thing that I ask. That's your one assignment and task. All right. So I've talked about this a lot. So we're going to talk about 8 different things. So we're going to talk about 8 different keys that you must have, implement, do, be, emulate in order for you to be both happy and profitable. So you might be profitable right now. You might be crushing it in your business. You might be making a ton of money, but maybe you're miserable. Maybe you're unhappy. Maybe you're feeling like, hey, this isn't what I signed up for. right? Or you feel constantly stressed or overwhelmed or not present with your family. I know. I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. And so I talk about it a lot, but for years I struggled with the profitability part and the happiness part. Geez. But I kept trying to start business after business, 10 years to be exact, of trying to start business after business. And really, the franchise business was the first time that I was able to shatter through that kind of belief system and that wall that existed for me, doing the $470,000 in sales that first year and getting profitable, eventually building a franchise business that did nearly $3 million in sales. And then finally, after 10 years of trying to start my own independent business, my own thing, I was able to take what I learned from franchising and my new identity, pay attention to that word because we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And I was able to build a 7-figure business now from scratch. And so the first thing that I want to talk about, the number one, is your why and tapping into your why. It sounds so cliche. Tariq, your why. I've heard so much about my why. I've heard so much about, I got to know my why. And it just kind of logically, it just passes through. I've heard it on audios that I've listened to, and I'm like, oh yeah, know your why. Okay, that's cool. But if you really embrace this, if you really tap in your why, if you really know why you want to be an entrepreneur, why you want to be successful, why you want to make millions of dollars, the how will not matter. Because when you find, there's a phrase and a quote of when your why is strong enough, you'll find the how. You'll figure out the how. But if you're all about the how and you don't have the why, meaning if you're saying creating a successful business is not optional. I grew up poor. I grew up with my family struggling with money, or I grew up worrying about money all the time. And I want to create a better life for my family and my kids. I want to create generational wealth. I want to be able to send my kids to private school. I want to be able to provide experiences for my kids and my family where money is never an option, or money is never an excuse, right? If you're tapping into that part of you, of like, for me, it's like, hey, I want to set the example for my kids. I don't want to be the person speaking to them on the outside. Hey, you should follow your dreams. You should follow your passion. Believe in yourself. When you feel fear, you got to overcome it. But meanwhile, I'm over there cowering, right? I'm there not following through. I'm there not following my dreams, right? So to me, that's a big part of my why. So when you tap into that, like when you know that that's your why, then the how will show up. So the strategy in the business, or the what business to start or to buy, all of a sudden, the resources start to show up when you have this unrelenting why. And so and all of a sudden you find the strength. You find the strength and you find the resourcefulness. Here's an interesting story on this that happened recently. So I like to run in Spartan races. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the medals there. And so here's the interesting part. A lot of people think, hey, Tariq, well, you like to run. Of course, that's why you run Spartan races. No, absolutely not. I actually really hate running. And quick side note, all my years of wrestling, I used to be a wrestler. All my years of wrestling, when we'd have to go run outside, I'd be running at the back of the line with the heavyweights. That's how bad I was at running. Now, I had asthma for a long time, but still, for whatever reason, like I could play basketball for hours and be good, but if it was like just running, I would struggle. And so I decided to start intentionally putting myself into situations to be uncomfortable, right? And actually, I'm gonna save this story for later. I think it's gonna fit. I think it's gonna fit with something that's more powerful. But I do remember when I was first starting this YouTube channel. I was first starting the YouTube channel. I had no idea how I was gonna grow it. I had no idea how I was gonna monetize it. I just knew that I had a strong why. And Caleb at the time our son, who's now 4 years old. Sophia wasn't even born yet. And I just kept thinking about Caleb. And I kept thinking about, I've got to do this for him. And so I'd be up till midnight editing videos. I'd be up till 1 o'clock in the morning just working. And at that time, this was after COVID and our stores got hit. And so I went back to the corporate world to get a job because our store sales had tanked by like 40, 50% when COVID first happened. And so I was working a job, still had the 2 stores, was managing that. One was in California, one was in Florida, had a full-time job, and I was starting this YouTube channel and business. It was crazy, but it was my why that pushed me through, right? Those nights where I felt tired and exhausted, I'm literally falling asleep in my computer. That's what pushed me through. So tap into your why. Number two is to follow a proven roadmap. What do I mean by that? There is currently, for whatever challenge that you're facing or whatever goal that you want to accomplish in your business, there is a roadmap. There is a roadmap of what success looks like, okay? So whether you're optimizing for profitability or whether you're optimizing for happiness, there is a roadmap for both, right? If you're optimizing for happiness, as an example, like you want to just wake up feeling happier, feeling less stress, not worrying all the time, there's a way to optimize for that, right? Here's some strategies that work. Exercise. Exercise releases endorphins. It releases endorphins that make you feel better. If you are not exercising, it's nearly impossible for you to feel happy. Period. Okay? Another way is that if you're not showing gratitude, if you're constantly complaining or just thinking about what you don't have and where you aren't, like that, okay, I want to be here in my life, either financially or in my business or in my health, and I'm not there, and you're constantly focusing on the lack of, it's going to create unhappiness. So if you're not showing gratitude, like genuinely being like, you know what, I'm grateful for my eyes. I can see. There are so many people out there who don't even have the ability to see. Like I'm grateful to be able to hear, just to be able to walk. Right? There are people out there who don't have legs, who'll never be able to walk again. These are the things we take for granted. And so when we wake up and we're consciously thinking about like, what do I have to be grateful for? That is optimizing for happiness. But the point is to again, follow a proven roadmap. Like there is a strategy that is effective and that works. So when I was starting, this is why starting the franchise business was so helpful. All the other times I was trying to start a business, I was not following a proven roadmap. So there had been over 100 franchisees at this point. The franchisor like laid out the roadmap. Now I just had to follow it. Now some of you get the roadmap and you decide you want to take a detour. Like the tour guide gives you the roadmap. They're like, go here, go here, go here. And then you're like, you know what? And trust me, I've been here on this. I want to go here. I want to go to this stop, or I think this route actually will work. And then you'll go on the detour. The detour could work, but if you're breaking off of the proven roadmap, you're taking the risk that it'll take longer. It could be more painful. You know, maybe you're blazing the path, right? But if you want to get there quickly, efficiently, follow a proven roadmap. So again, this is something that I did in starting the YouTube channel initially, was I bought a course. I love just buying access to information. I bought a YouTube course from a guy who had created a successful YouTube channel. And I just, check this out, it was crazy. I just watched the modules and did it. I just did it. There was a strategy. I didn't just wing it to grow the YouTube channel. Like there was a strategy in terms of how to do topic research, how to do keyword research, tools that you could use to search it and see the search data, ways that you have to make your titles to optimize it for the search engine, in ways in which to edit the videos or to manage the retention so that the algorithm will continue to show the video. Like there was a roadmap to all of these things. So seek out the roadmap, and then follow the roadmap. Very important. Number 3 is to be decisive. This is an interesting one. For whatever reason, I tend to attract a lot of thinkers. A lot of you thinkers like to watch me. Why are you? Why? Because I put out very technical content. And so one of the things that you guys struggle with the most is something that I've had a challenge with as well, which is being decisive, making a decision. So part of it, one, is understanding your personality style first. It's understanding your personality style and that you may have a tendency to be indecisive. And so a lot of this is just having awareness, right? It's just having the awareness of, okay, I have this pattern of being indecisive and not making decisions. So how do I intentionally focus on and cultivate being more decisive? Number 1 is to start being more decisive with little things. So for me, as an example, where indecision can kick up is just in like planning a trip or a vacation and researching all of the different options or hotels and resorts. And then like there's this period of indecision of like, which one should we do? Where should we stay? Or this one or this one. And so it's in those little moments that you practice being more decisive with just intentionality. So little things in your life where it's like, I don't know which, what should I wear today? Or just simple things. What should I eat for dinner? Or I'm ordering off this menu. I don't know. And overthinking it, right? And then you just practice the ability to be decisive. Because at the end of the day, Tony Robbins used to say, it's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. It's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And most people don't realize, check this out, not making a decision is making a decision. So you think by not deciding and by waiting and procrastinating that you're not making a decision, but you are. You are. And so nothing changes until you make a decision and then execute. Nothing changes until then. So like we have folks that reach out that they've been thinking about buying a franchise for so long, thinking about doing this. Stop thinking about it. Just do it. Take action. You'll learn from it. There's a phrase of fail forward. Here's the thing that most people don't get. And again, this is applicable whether you want to buy a franchise, whether you're a franchisee, and because, right, you have decisions you have to make in your business and you start overthinking it. Will it be worth it? What if it doesn't work? Like, here's the thing. The most successful people, they make decisions quickly. They are decisive. But here's the key. Trusting in your ability to be able to respond and adapt. And so that was one of the things that I had to learn was that, okay, at the end of the day, if I make the wrong decision, that's okay. I'm going to trust in myself and my ability to be able to recover and pivot. I was talking to my friend about a month ago. I was visiting him in Texas, and he was telling me about all the obstacles that he had faced in his business in just a couple of years in this new business he had started. Now, granted, he owns businesses that do well over $10 million a year in sales and revenue. And he was just telling me about all these decisions he had made and losing people and this happening and this happening. And I'm like, holy crap. He was telling me the whole story and the journey about all the things that had happened. And he would just keep making decision, even though it was scary. And he would have to let someone go because they did something or they didn't do something, and he's very principle-based, and he's like, I got to let him go even when I don't have a backup plan. I don't have any coverage. I don't have anyone to help me out or solve this problem. And then as soon as he would make the decision, the resource would appear, right? So it's powerful. God, the universe, whatever you want to believe in, works in this manner. Is when you take that leap of faith and you decide, all of a sudden the resources start to open up for you. So you have to decide first, and then the answers come. Here's the analogy. If you do not jump, your parachute will 100% not open. If you're standing on the side of a cliff and you have the parachute, everything strapped on, the person has checked all your buckles and straps, right? And you got the parachute hanging off, you can see it like right behind you. All you got to do is jump off the cliff, and then when you do, it's going to open, right? But you're scared, you're terrified, like, oh, what if I jump and it doesn't open? But guess what? If you don't jump, it's not going to open. That is the way to guarantee that the parachute does not open. So the analogy is, if you don't make the decision, that is the guarantee that you will stay the same and actually get worse. Because if we're not growing, we're dying. Crazy. Number 4 is identity. If there is only one that you only take from this today, identity is the one. Because it's the one that supersedes everything else. Now still stay till the end, because 5, 6, and 7, and I may only have 7, not 8, actually. 5, 6, and 7, super, super powerful. But number 4 is identity. Identity is the thing that drives all of your success and your results in life. So it's like an invisible force like gravity, but it controls everything in your life. So your identity, meaning who you believe yourself to be and act, will control your beliefs. Your beliefs will control your actions will control your results. Then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if your identity, and a lot of the times, here's the tricky part about all this. A lot of the times identity is subconscious. It is at an unconscious level. So here's the easiest way to gauge for what your identity is what are the results in your life right now? What are the current results? So if you did an inventory of your health, are you overweight or underweight? Are you in physical shape? Do you have energy or no? So, okay, your identity is that you are someone that does not take care of their health and that does not have energy and is overweight or whatever. On the other side, if you're fit and you're constantly exercising and working out and putting good fuel in your body, that's your identity. So for me, that has been my identity for a long time. I've been an athlete all my life. I consider my identity is that I am an athlete, right? So what happens is when you have that identity, the strategy and the path may change, but you'll always keep consistent with that identity. As an example, so I wrestled. That was me being an athlete for all throughout high school, right? Wrestled. And then later on, after school, I got into golf. And I got really into golf, and I was terrible for a long time, but I had this identity of not only being an athlete, but an identity of, like, I want to be great at everything that I do. Everything. I want to be a great father. I want to be a great husband. I want to have great health. I want to be great in business. Now, I may not measure up to everything, but I'm certainly going to give it my all. And so with golf, I started training. I started competing in tournaments. Actually, that bear right there, if you're watching, that bear is from a golf tournament that a club championship that we played in, and me and my partner had the lowest score in that round, which was pretty exciting. I shot a natural 79, and at the time I was like a 15 handicap. So for any of you that know golf, that was crazy. Yes, people were calling me a sandbagger, but it was literally the next day I shot a 94. It was a 4-day tournament, so I just caught on fire that day. But then I stopped playing golf. We had kids, and to commit 3, 4, 5 hours, whatever, I started having some back issues. And then so I started competing in Spartan races. So I've just always had this identity that I'm an athlete, and I figure out a way to fulfill that identity. So you may have an identity that you struggle with money, right? Or you may have an identity that you're just unhappy, or that you're stressed out. And so if that's your identity at its core, because you're constantly feeling stressed, you're constantly feeling unhappy, you're constantly worrying about money, or have a lack of money, then that is your current identity around that area. And so what you need to do is to, first step is awareness, to just be aware, holy crap, I'm only getting this result in my life because of my identity. It's like, I'm not a victim to circumstances. This is my identity, what I'm associating myself to, right? And so once you become aware of that, now you have the power to change it, right? So as an example, if your identity is as an employee and you're constantly, that's how you see yourself succeeding as an employee, you have to develop a new identity of being an entrepreneur. Because there are people out there, entrepreneurs, that have had many failed businesses, and they keep reiterating, figuring it out, because they have an identity, number one, that they figure it out. Number two, they have an identity as an entrepreneur. And so that's one of the most challenging shifts of going from employee to entrepreneur, is making that identity shift, that I am now an entrepreneur. And so there's many ways that you can change your identity, right? If you want to know, drop a comment below. I can share some of those things with you. One of the most powerful things is to start to write down I am statements and to start to visualize a new way of being that you want to be. And you can start to change your identity. But the most powerful way to change your identity is to start to act like the new entity that you want to be and the person that you want to become. If you constantly act and act and act and act as that individual, eventually you'll start to train yourself to become it. Number 5, solution-oriented. Tariq, that seems so obvious. Solution-oriented. Yeah, I know. I focus on solutions. Do you? Are you sure? Here's what most of us do. We experience a problem. We know that we want to solve the problem, that we don't want to continue to experience the problem, but where our mind, and where your mind typically goes by default, is continuing to focus on the problem. So while you're trying to solve it, the whole time, your eyes are focused actually on the problem, not on the solution. Here's an example. Here's a quick story. When I was about, I think I was like 16 or 17 years old, I got in a car accident. It was my very first car accident. And there were cars coming this way. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. There were cars coming like horizontally in front of me. I'm at this intersection and I'm going to make a left. I'm going to make a left at the intersection. But when I look to the left, there's a turn lane where people are turning right. So I'm not really able to see. There's a moment where the car that's to the left of the car that's in turn right, as they're going straight, the car is blocking it that's turning right. And so I went to turn out and make that left. And as I'm looking to turn, I see, I'm like, oh shit, there's a car coming at me. And so what did I do? Like, I stayed focused on the problem. So I'm looking at the car, trying to figure out a way to maneuver, boom, smashes into me. But as opposed to if I'm like, oh shit, there's the car, and then turn and look my eyes in the direction of where I want to go, being solution-oriented. And so most of the time what we do is we think about this problem that we have, like, I got this problem of turnover, I got to hire more people, but the whole time the intention is coming from this problem, as opposed to, okay, what's the solution? How can I, sitting down and actually thinking, how can I solve this? Like, what's the best solution for it? And most of the time, we just kind of spin our wheels, not intentionally thinking and planning solutions. And so at the end of the day, if you face a problem, you should always ask yourself, what is the solution? What's the solution here? what's really crazy about your brain is when you ask it a question, it will come up with the answer. So if you face a problem and you're like, why am I going through, like, why are we dealing with this right now? Your brain will answer it. It'll start telling you all the reasons of why you're dealing with it. And then that'll lead you down a rabbit hole of more problems. As opposed to when you consciously ask the question, okay, we're dealing with this problem. Maybe you first ask, okay, what caused it? Because you want to know the root cause to prevent it in the future. So you can ask yourself, well, what caused this problem? And more importantly, how can we solve it? And how can we prevent this problem in the future? And what's the outcome that we even want? Because sometimes we experience a problem because we've never actually defined what success looks like in that area. Like we've never created a clear and compelling vision of what success looks like. So all of a sudden, when you're facing the problem and you're like, I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to experience this problem. Okay, well, now I'm going to make a shift and I'm going to focus on XYZ. So as an example, if you're constantly feeling stressed about money, instead of staying in this constant feeling of stressed about money, you're like, well, number one, what's causing me to feel stressed about money right now? Okay, I'm not making enough to cover my expenses, or my business isn't profiting, or I'm not saving and investing like I thought. Oh, okay, interesting. So what would make me feel better about money? Well, if I was able to save $1,000, save and invest $1,000 a month, I would feel better about money. Interesting. Okay, great. So how can you get yourself to save that amount of money? Or if my business was profiting X number of dollars, then I could feel better. Okay, great. Now you know, now you have clarity. So what can you do to get your business to that point? And that could lead to a variety of things. Maybe you're in the wrong business. Maybe your business doesn't have the ability to create those profits. Maybe that leads to you selling it. Maybe you need to hire more people, right? Maybe you need to work on your business, on your business. It can lead to all sorts of different things. Number 6 is your willingness to experience discomfort. Ooh, this is a good one. And for those of you that have made it this far in the episode, I know you are likely the type of person that is willing to experience discomfort, because at some point, probably during this episode, your brain wanted to distract you, right? And you decided to choose the route of sticking it through, following through. Most people don't. So your willingness to experience discomfort. So in order to grow, you literally have to face discomfort. And so the people that wind up being the most successful, they know that in order to get from A to B, let's say that A is here, right? You want to build, let's say, $1 million a year business. So this is B. You're optimizing for B. You already know that in between A and B, there's going to be discomfort. So you're prepared for it. You're ready for it. So when you start executing and you start implementing, and when you feel tired or struggling, or when it's hard, you expected it. So as an example, that's one of the reasons why I run the Spartan races, because of my willingness to experience discomfort. So that's literally why I started to run it, because I wanted to constantly put myself into an uncomfortable experience. So the race itself is uncomfortable. It's hard. Climbing under barbed wire, running through mud, climbing up ropes, jumping over things and climbing up things that are high. And I can be afraid of heights at sometimes. So some of these things are high. And so it's very uncomfortable. It can be really hot when the race is going on, right? And then I would know, okay, so that's the race, and then training's going to be uncomfortable. Like I have to train if I want to perform well and not feel like I'm dying when I run the race. And so I keep signing up for race after race after race to intentionally put myself in a form of discomfort. And I believe that physical discomfort is one of the most powerful ways to get to build an identity of being able to push through discomfort. Because if you can pull through physical discomfort typically then requires you to get emotionally stronger and spiritually stronger. So if you can constantly overcome physical discomfort, then you can, like, overcoming discomfort in your business or in your family life should be easier in theory. Does that make sense? So right now there's a decision that you've been delaying and making and procrastinating. You know what decision that is. Yeah, there are a few, but there's one major decision that you have been procrastinating and making. And one of the key reasons is because of your willingness to experience the discomfort that you're associating with making that decision. You're focused more on the pain of what the decision will bring as opposed to what the pleasure will bring. So when I do these Spartan races, I'm not as focused on the pain of, I got to go out there and run and I got to climb over the thing and it's tiring. I'm actually focused more on the pleasure of, like, how am I going to feel after I finish it? I'm going to feel accomplished and it's going to boost my identity and I'm going to feel pumped up and fired up and I'm focusing on all those different things. So right now, commit to making that decision. There's something else called time under tension, which is it's a term that's used in working out and physical fitness, meaning, like, the more time that you're under tension, the stronger your muscles get, or the more muscle endurance you have. And so your ability to sustain under discomfort, to experience that time under tension, will transform your life. 100%. Number 7. This is actually going to be the last one. I don't have an 8th one, not on this one. Number 7 is your ability to handle uncertainty. And so Tony Robbins, I used to speak and travel for Tony Robbins, and he talks about the 6 human needs. I'm actually going to pull them up to make sure that I don't miss any of them. But he talks about the 6 human needs, and uncertainty and certainty are 2 of them. So let me run through them real quick. So we have certainty, we have uncertainty, we have significance, feeling unique, important, special, or needed, connection, a strong feeling of closeness, growth, feeling like you're growing, and then contribution. And so for a powerful way to understand yourself so that you can shift to becoming more towards who you want to be, so you can be happy and profitable, is understanding your human needs and optimizing and realizing I've been making decisions to optimize for these 2 needs, but these 2 needs maybe aren't the ones that are actually most in alignment with me being happy and profitable. So as an example, for a long time, 2 of my main human needs were certainty and significance. So certainty is the assurance of avoiding pain and gaining pleasure. So I would do all sorts of things for certainty. And as you can imagine, like, in order to grow in general, especially a business, you got to be able to handle a lot of uncertainty. So right now, one of the reasons why you may be struggling is because you don't want to make a decision, right? This ties into all the other things. You don't want to make a decision because there's uncertainty associated with it, right? If you still haven't gotten off the fence of buying a franchise, it's because you're valuing the certainty of your job and the certainty of not starting a business. You're valuing that more than you're valuing the uncertainty. And so part of it, again, is just recognizing, oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm scared of the uncertainty and my willingness to experience discomfort. So, now, I really want to own a business one day and I want to be a successful entrepreneur. So am I going to be able to do that while holding on to this desire to feel certain all the time and to not feel uncertainty? No, probably not. Interesting. So, what does that mean? So I might as well experience the uncertainty sooner than later as opposed to delaying it, right? Because in theory, the longer you wait to leave for a trip, if you're driving or traveling, the longer it takes you to get there. So if you're delaying making a decision, you're just delaying how long it takes for you to get to your destination, whatever that destination is. Could be money, could be a successful business, could be being a better parent. Like, there are decisions that need to be made, uncertainty. And so your ability, again, to deal with certainty is going to have a tremendous impact on you and your business. So as an owner, all of a sudden there's this new advertising campaign or this new opportunity for you to spend money or to hire a new person, and you feel stressed out because there's all sorts of uncertainty related to that, and you really crave certainty, and that's really hard for you. So the more that you can deal with uncertainty, you'll become more decisive naturally. You will naturally become more decisive by being uncertain. It's kind of crazy. It's crazy. So those are the 7 things. Let's recap real quick. And make sure if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, drop us a review, a comment. It helps, again, to show, for the algorithm to show this video to more and more people, especially since we're starting a brand new channel. We got to build up momentum quickly here. So number 1 is to tap into your why. Number 2 is to follow a proven roadmap. Number 3 is to be decisive, be even more decisive. Number 4 is your identity and shifting your identity. Number 5 is being solution-oriented. Number 6 is your willingness to experience discomfort. And number 7 is your ability to deal with uncertainty. If you focus on just improving one of those things, then I guarantee you it will transform your life and your ability to experience more happiness and more profitability. 100%. And some of those are like the parent ones, right? So, right, if you just change your identity, you can change your identity to cover a lot of those ones, right? And part of it is just starting to do things that are uncomfortable intentionally. So all these people are doing like ice baths and all that stuff now. Yeah, they're health benefits, but they're wanting to put themselves into a state of discomfort. So I hope you enjoyed this style of episode. Let me know. Let me know if you like this style of episode. More solo podcasts to come. And just know that I'm rooting for your success. You can do this. You can make your dreams happen. Whatever goal that you're working on, whatever failure or obstacle that you've experienced in the past, do not let it stop you. Be resilient, be powerful, be strong. Your family is counting on you. Your community is counting on you. If you give up, you're being selfish. Think of all the people that you can impact and that are counting on you. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.